Hello, beautiful strangers, and welcome back to another episode of Myth. When last we left off, exposition was going on. Other than, I guess the first part of the episode was Shiki was going even more crazy, and it was all good fun. But now we're learning a bit more about what he is and what's going on. I guess that's the more important thing. What is going on in this crazy, crazy world called Myth? I'm so excited. But, let's get back into it, shall we? Mwah. We went back the way we came. Who were they? There were two girls there. Both were wearing similar clothing. I'd never seen clothes like that before. They had nothing in common with the school uniforms I wore and the black sundress the girl was wearing. They must have been from another world. Hey Ryan, here you are. He's the third. The older one said that bluntly. I wasn't expecting a third, but yes. Doesn't look very reliable. Excuse her. Liddy has something of a foul mouth. Please forgive her. The girl made me come back to my senses. That first girl was incredibly unpleasant. The way she presented herself wasn't particularly nice either. She looked down on me and had a haughty air to her. Where are you from? I don't know. You don't know? You don't remember where you came from? It makes sense. He doesn't have a shadow. Shimon-san, why does he lack a shadow? I don't know. I have to ask Odin. Looks like someone isn't playing by the rules. Whatever. Listen up, Shadowless. Me? What? Do you understand the situation you're in right now? How could you expect me to? Valkyrie, how much does he know? I spoke to him about the objective of Myth. Got it, so he probably doesn't understand what you told him. The way she spoke was extremely irritating. I didn't think I'd like her. You scared, Shadowless? Not really, surprisingly. Would you typically be scared in this situation? It was reasonable for her to ask me that. Maybe I was just strange for not being scared. You haven't experienced anything yet. True terror approaches. Make it sound like this isn't your first time doing this. I can only assume based on what that girl named Shimon said, but it was unlikely that they'd experienced anything like this before. That was why she said there were three of us. I don't know where you're from, but my world is known for being resistant to fear. What? Is some sort of war going on there or something? Something like that? Huh? I didn't really care, so I didn't press her about it. So what's scary? Valkyrie or whoever said we're supposed to coexist with the shadows or something. Simpleton. She really did piss me off. You really think just pretending to be friendly with them will make things all better? You're naive. What's that supposed to mean? The majority of the endings awaiting us are tragedies. To coexist with strange beings who possess only a shadow, it's inevitable that doing so will cause problems. Precisely. The girl spoke up. I didn't tell you this because I figure it's getting you off, but... And said, your goal is to seek a good ending, that being coexisting with the shadows. However, that is no easy task. You'll fail numerous times. I do like myself a good bad ending. What happens if we fail? Kaboom, probably. That's right. When you enter the world with shadows, your memories will be replaced, and you'll become a character in the script. Your goal is to recall the truth within a limited number of pages and coexist with the shadows. You won't just fade away either. If you fail, you'll be obliterated. Obliterated? Is that what really meant by kaboom? I didn't really get it. If someone remembers, can they tell the others? Unfortunately, though, the truth must be reached on one's own. Your being is your own after all. The story will continue to loop until we succeed. That's right. So us Einherjar have to regain our memories and work to coexist with the shadows. How long do we have to work with?
I'll play with you after I finish recording. I promise. I promise. I do.
You've been in a mood today? How long do I have to work with? 20 pages have been prepared. You have 1 page per day. So you have 20 days, half of which will be need to be spent on recalling your memories. If you exceed with the time frame, you repeat, and the Nodin will rewrite it. So we have to guide these dumb future beings into coexisting with shadows. Sounds fun. She was all for it. Well, what if we don't remember? The other girl was worried. Even if I wanted to understand this world, I wouldn't have the time to inside of myth. How many times would I be able to remember myself? The answer was, likely not very many. What sort of actions would I take? That must have been it, though. I wasn't afraid.
What are you doing? Hi, yes, don't do that. Thank you.
The beating in my chest far eclipsed any fear I had. That was why I said this instead of hesitating. We have no choice. There was no point in hesitating, after all. We had no choice but to act. To follow the rules. And that was something that I, in all likelihood, was always waiting for. Waiting for a change like this as I continued to repeat those days over and over. I wanted this. Everyone seems to have made up their mind. I was happy to hear her say that. My very self was the most intriguing and mysterious thing to me. Who was I? Why was I here? Why did I have no shadow? I would find these answers, no matter how uncertain such certainties were. I was determined to. It's almost showtime. Showtime? How will we know? We just will. Controls the axis of time here. Intervals are indeterminate, but you'll still get a feel for the timing because there will be noticeable changes. Right now, I'm using my power as a Valkyrie to create a space within the confines of the script. Oh, right. What will happen to you? Will you appear in myth? I will. I'm supposed to invite you to my house, and then I die around the 10th day. Without exception? That's right. Just how Asgard works. There's nothing I, as a Valkyrie, can do about it. Of course. I was curious about that. And you're okay with that? It meant that she had no hope, no good ending. She'd always die. I didn't know if her memories would be preserved within myth or disappear, but maybe she could be saved. Just thinking about her position as a hopeless piece was sad. Yes, she smiled. Her smile was all too simple. She was totally fine with that. You should find the ending as soon as possible rather than worry about that. Okay. Meet again in the script. Shadowless, don't get in my way. Goodbye. A complicated array of emotions swirled within my chest, and that was how my memories faded away.
Hey, oh, my microphone cable. I don't want it to accidentally be unplugged or knocked loose or something.
Right. That's right. I have to keep going. I had things I had to do. The object on my back. It didn't belong in this world, and it made me remember. Have you awakened, Shadowless? Those words were somehow nostalgic to me. Really, that was an incredible performance. The fact that she knitted that sweater meant that she must have realized what was going on rather early. It was simple to follow along. What are you looking at? Nothing. Lily seemed strange to me as I grappled within my memories. To think she was actually so haughty. It's a good thing you remembered. You'd be a hunk of meat too if Shimon's death didn't tip you off. Right. You could say that it was thanks to Shimon that I was able to regain my memories. She provided me with the hint that night. Perhaps that was why I went insane. I won't let the tears you shed go to waste. She saved me. So, just you and I. Seems like So didn't make it. Her real name is Kiki. I see. You two are familiar with each other. We grew up together. As such, we were close in some capacity. Wait, grew up together? How's that possible? I recall what So had been like. She had seemed very young. Pop. She reduced her age to suppress her power. She's likely even older than you. That's hard to believe. Her power is equal to my own. Her latent power might surpass mine, though. Power? Power to govern the world. I won't explain. You'll understand with time. She's a fool, though. If she hadn't suppressed her power, she would have regained her memories almost immediately. Why would she basically choose death? Why didn't you tell her? Simpleton. The Valkyrie said that we can't share information with each other like that. You can create an opportunity to help another person, like I did with you. That person says the right thing, but in Kiki's case, that was impossible. Yeah, I can't imagine her catching on to what was happening considering the way she behaved. You aren't familiar with her. The Kiki I knew saw that. I don't know whether she'd die laughing or crying. My first impression of her was, well, I don't think that's the right way to phrase it, but she seemed very mature, kind. Lily muttered to herself about how Odin was such a trickster. You never guessed she had the dubious position like the Oracle. Guess anything could happen to anyone. Oracle? Don't worry about it. All I could say was, I see. Alright, enough about Kiki. Find another way to save her once we return to the prologue. We need to make a breakthrough right now, though. Alright, so what's happening? You remember Hibiki? She was a character. Oh, yeah, I do. She was a shadow who had vanished from sight after Shimon's birthday. She likely knew the truth behind what was happening here, considering she disappeared from everyone's memories. Is that actually possible? She's just a character. Considering what Shimon said, no, it's not possible. Hibiki's different from us. She really is just a character. We're actors, and while we can return to our former selves, a mere prop shouldn't be able to. That's why her disappearance is so intriguing. Don't call her that. Hold on a moment. Saws about that. Had to remove Kitten from my dresser. She has been in a bit of a mood today. She wants to play with certain stuff that she's not allowed to play with. And I'm not. Well, I can't say I'm not sure why. But I'm not going to be recording that much longer, I'm sure. When I finish this episode, I'm done, as a matter of fact. So I will try to get her to play with me, but she wants to play with things she's not supposed to instead of her toys, because of course she does. Well, I mean, she's a kitten after all. What do you expect? Don't call her a prop. I was good friends with her. Whatever. Listen. This world is a stage built for the purpose of having bodies coexist with shadows. The fact that it's a stage, that outside of the actors, nothing else possesses a will of its own. The shadow people are just that, props. Face the facts, boy. They're not human. They're props. There's no reason to grow attached to them. I don't care. Hibiki is still Hibiki. I don't want to forget that. Hold on a moment. Okay, I'm back, I think. I hope. I keep a button thermometer on my dresser, and she is trying to chew on that, or eat it, or play with it, or something. She keeps jumping up and knocking it off my dresser to play it with it and chew on it in my floor. Not sure why. But then again, she's a kitten, and I'm never quite sure why she does much of anything. But anyway, hopefully there won't be any more interruptions before I finish recording this episode. Fingers crossed. Are you serious? She only acted in accordance with what was penned in the script. Don't you dare forget that. Think of her like a billboard. She can display information in the form of her existence, and it's our duty to accept it as such. She's nothing more or less than that. All of this was pretty poorly thought out. These characters in this world all suck. But there's no point in me criticizing it too much. That was only the first loop, but might just be feeling things out. There's no reason for you to be upset by such nonsense either. It hinders our ability to recover our memories if you take a liking to this stuff. We'll merely die in vain forever. Nonsense? That's right, the story's development this time around was suspect, but that'll likely improve from here on out. How can you be so sure? Myth will learn from us. Learn from us? Odin will improve by writing more and learning from us. She'll develop more realistic characters, write more intricate plots, and create more emotional situations. Myth will manipulate our emotions more readily and easily as it repeats. And that process of refinement will lead this story to its conclusion. That's my guess, at least. It's fine if you felt something for Hibiki. And if such emotions meant that much to you, then it's within your right to treasure them. However, I'll warn you, keep playing with toys to a minimum. Interacting with her was unbelievably annoying at times. That's the end of my explanation. Are you prepared now? Accept reality. Numerous things still bothered me, but I had to cast that all aside. Wasn't this something I'd already agreed to in the beginning? I had to accept that. The shadows were nothing but characters, even Hibiki, Katomi, the chief, and the villagers. Even my old friends and teachers from my world were the same. No, it wasn't my world. It was just fiction. It was an endless space, one I repeated every day without fail and had no particular notable memories of. That wasn't the real world I was from. And that was precisely why I decided to act as Einherjar. It was to find my own world, to find my own shadow. So what should we do about Hibiki's disappearance? Those words were my very will. They propelled me forward. Nothing. Huh? Well, act normal. Why? I told you. This is a fictional world and our aim is to coexist. Nothing in the script will compel us to search for Hibiki. Well, unless Katomi began searching for her. Right. Katomi had already forgotten about her daughter. We aren't going to learn anything about Hibiki if we do that, though. That would only hold true if we were just characters. Listen, Shadowless. Hasn't myth made you realize anything strange about yourself? Strange? Numerous scenes flashed in my head. I could think of a number of things. That's because your will has clashed with the author's portrayal of you. Quite annoying, really. She continued. The look on her face suggested she had resigned herself to this explanation. Let me cite an example. Assume you're so full that you can't eat another bite. But that clashes with the script, which demands you, Neto Tanabe, eat the food that I, Riri, have cooked. So what happens? The food in your stomach doesn't digest. Instead, your stomach becomes completely empty. You then say that my food looks delicious as a result. So what you're saying is that two versions of us exist at once, our real selves with our own will and our caricatures? Exactly. The script continues even after we've awoken as Einherjar. So how does that relate to Hibiki? We are characters, and we are readers. As such, we can infer and ponder to ourselves regarding myth. Am I wrong? No, I suppose you could say that. It makes more sense to us for us to investigate that cause as we continue to play our part as characters in myth. She was right. You'll act normal from tomorrow onward. Bear in mind that Shimon and So are no longer with us, and as we do that as well. Hey, pretty girl. I'll be done soon. The script should develop in such a way that we, travelers from another world, continue to deepen our relationship with the residents of the Shadow World. But that makes no sense. And that's what third-rate authors do. They force certain developments to occur within their stories. One thing in particular bothers me, though. What is it? Following Kiki's death, it's like the script stopped for 2 days. Like time itself had stopped. I just kept on knitting a sweater during that time frame. And you fell into a panic. I could hear your stupidly loud laughter all the way in here. I don't really remember. Was I laughing? I'm concerned about Myth's viewpoint during those 2 days. What did the script depict during those times? There's no way that it could have been. You panicking? Of course not. You can't imagine there's any tangible link between that and the coexistence between shadows and people. Your own will compelled you to panic. I'd like to believe that. My awakening scene concluded with those questions still remaining. And I think that is where I'm going to end off this episode. A little bit of a shorter episode following a little bit of a longer episode, but that's okay. I think this is a nice stopping point, nice break in the scene. So next time, we're in Myth and we're aware. And really, what more could I say? Well, hope to see you all there.